Hello, I'm back. Welcome back to Roberta's Countdown to Retirement. So, I know I said that I wasn't going to be political on here, and I don't really feel like this is going to be political, but I have some things to talk about being part of a community. Week before last, a week ago Saturday, there was a No Kings protest rally all over the country. And there was several communities within my county, Tillamook County, that had people who participated. So on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, our local paper that publishes once a week had a story about how many people attended the rally. And some of the comments that were on Facebook were just appalling to me about how didn't these people have anything better to do with their time to make the community better, and they were paid people and retired hippies and old hippies. And here's what I want to say. Doesn't matter which side of any protest you're on. Those are all generalizations about people that you don't know the facts about. So, yes, those people, some of them were retired teachers, some of them current teachers, some of them retired community business owners in this county that helped out in a lot of ways. Crime victims advocates, lawyers, doctors, moms, dads, teaching their children that it's okay to stand up for the things that you believe in because that's our right in this country. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you were there for a different kind of rally protesting something I didn't like, I'd still protect your right to be there and say those things. And I would say the same things about you, that I don't know you, but I'm guessing that just like the people that were at this rally, there were people there that give regularly to the food bank, that make sure that kids get fed in the summer through Grub Club programs throughout the county, that volunteer at school for reading programs and lunch programs. We just don't know if we don't stop and ask. And these are our neighbors, the people that we live in this community with. One of the things I tell people all the time that I'm so proud of in this community this time of year, this weekend we had our first big storm, wind and rain. And often when that happens, there are floods and trees are knocked down over roads and roofs are lost. And here's what happens. Doesn't matter in those times who voted how or who believes in what. If somebody needs a boat to get across a flooded area to get home or to get into the hospital, somebody's got a boat and they will volunteer to take you. In 2007, when we had what would have been in hurricane country termed a hurricane, here it was called a winter storm, when 200-mile-an-hour gusts blew roofs off of houses, no one asked who the person at that house belonged to, how they voted, but there were tarps and there were people who offered their rooms so that people could be housed. There were people who volunteer every time the lights are out for multiple days. People who have power will make sure people who don't have power have hot meals and hot showers, and no one asks, who did you vote for? Were you at this rally or that rally? No one asks because it simply doesn't matter. And I guess what I'm hoping for today is just to say, in our everyday lives, it doesn't matter. So why should it matter, and why should we have to make snarky comments on Facebook? It's really easy to make snarky comments on Facebook or the YouTube videos or Substack or anywhere else because we can't see faces and we can't see the people we're talking about. So we can't see if we've hurt them, if we've insulted them, and I'm just asking for human dignity and human respect in the world. So I'm going to share this post on Facebook later, and it's going to be my intent to ask my family and friends that are on Facebook to hear this and listen, because if you don't agree with the things I talk about, you can scroll past. You can unfollow. You can just not pay attention. It's okay. It's okay. But you don't have to be mean, and you don't have to be nasty. And because I ignore lots of things that my family and friends post that hurt me to the core because they violate my core beliefs. And I do have core beliefs, and so did all those people at that rally, and so did all the people who were there for the vigil for Charlie Kirk. We all have a set of core values, and if we could just respect that and not be calling each other names, and remember that when push comes to shove, we're all we got on this planet. We are neighbors. Our neighbors aren't just the people who live next door. Our neighbors aren't just the people who we go to church with or who we socialize with. They're everybody. Everybody that lives in this county is my neighbor, and so I should care. So when our church has a food drive, I got to ask, when you go to the food bank, do you ask where the food came from? What group gave it? I don't think so. And when I take my food to the food bank, I don't ask who's going to get this food. Do they believe like I do? I don't. And the same thing when I'm helping feed kids during the summer grub club program our church used to do. I don't ask the parents, what do you believe in? I just want to feed their kids. At Christmas time, our church participates in a program called Child with the Nehalem Bay Methodist Church. And we help families with Christmas gifts and Christmas needs. And quite frankly, we don't ask what they believe or if they believe in anything at all. We don't care, because the point is to make sure they have the things they need, just like we do for the Thanksgiving baskets that we're going to give in a few weeks. We go through the school and we let the school resource officer determine who needs help. And we do it just because they need the help. We don't ask who's going to get the food. And I suspect the folks that get the food don't care where it came from. They just know that they can feed their kids, they can feed their family for a few days. Not just Thanksgiving, but for a few days. And that's what's important. Feeding the hungry, helping people stay safe, helping people stay warm, being there when the community's having a emergency, a flood. Often where I live in Garibaldi, the lights can be out when the power goes out for 4 or more days. Making sure that our neighbors are warm and they're safe and they have hot food and hot showers, that there's a refrigerator open for somebody who needs their insulin refrigerated. Those are the things that are important, not what we believe, but it's the most fundamental right of everyone in this country to be able to stand up and say, this is my core value, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm going to fight for. I would hope you would respect that that's not unpatriotic. And I won't think that you're unpatriotic when you fight for something that you think is important. So we simply need common respect for each other's values. That's the thing that built this country. Let's don't tear it apart by disrespecting one another. This is political, yeah, but it's my core values. There are things that I believe in. I try not to judge people, because as you are judged, so you shall be judged. And Christ said, what you have done unto the least of these my children, you have done unto me. So whenever I am talking to a person, I'm trying hard to see Christ in each and every person, because my interaction is a reflection of my love of Christ. You don't have to believe in that, but I would ask you to respect my right to believe it, just as I would respect your right to not believe it. That is the crux of who we are as Americans. And I'm as American as anyone who believes differently, and I will support your right. That's what my father and his 5 brothers fought for in World War II. That's what built this country, that fighting for the right to be who we are. So anyway, this isn't a long video. It's like 10 minutes at this point in time. I just want to talk about respecting one another and living together in community and being there for one another when we need help. So I said what I said, and that's all I'm going to do for today. But I'll see you next week. I kind of determined that in a couple weeks I'm going to one of my videos is going to be I'll show you how I make my cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving, because we're going to do a some folks from church who don't have people to share the day with are going to get together, and I always make cranberry sauce. So I'm going to show you how to make cranberry sauce, or at least my cranberry sauce. At some point soon, I'll show you how I make mac and cheese, because those are the two things I'm good at. Anyway, just take care of one another this week. Look around and see your neighbor and know that in their everyday lives, they're doing the best they can, just like you're doing the best you can. See you next week.